His Trace Amigos back again.
The Three Blind Mice.
The three. I thought about saying that, but I was like, I think I'm gonna go with the Amigos. We are without Jack today. Some technical difficulties
Yuck.
left us without Yak today, but we will start as always with mega moments of the week. Starting to get a little harder to choose from as we have less and less NFL games, but I still have one from the NFL this week, and I think it's a good one. I'm going to Lamar Jackson for my mega moment this week. I think you have to. Obviously, he does have one playoff win, so it's not an elusive playoff win, but
He's got two now.
he's got two now. But before this game, he had one. He was what, 1-2?
1-2 or 1-3, yeah.
So he had taken a few early exits that people were not expecting for some of his Baltimore teams. He finally got it done this year. He's got the Ravens going to the AFC Championship, the first AFC Championship that Lamar will be in.
The first AFC Championship that the Ravens have ever hosted.
Yeah.
Big deal for the Ravens. And he did it very efficiently through the air, 16 of 22 for 152 yards and TDs, 2 TDs.
Tutties.
No picks, and then, of course, did it with his legs as well, 11 carries for 100 yards, 2 TDs, so 252 total yards, 4 total TDs, and a 34-10 rout of the Houston Texans. Lamar looked fantastic. He was efficient. He spread the ball around. He was very good at moving up in the pocket, getting out of the pocket, using his legs to extend plays, just like we always see Lamar do, and he might have... I know the playoffs aren't supposed to count, but that game might have shored up the MVP for him. And now I am hoping that he rides this momentum into the AFC Championship because there is absolutely no way I will be rooting for Josh Allen or for Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs.
And the swag surfing fans.
Yeah.
So Lamar Jackson and his first trip to the AFC Championship on a stellar performance against a hot Houston team is going to be my mega moment of this week. Lance, what do you got for us?
I'm going to stay in the NFL, and I'm going to go with Jared Goff. A few times this year, he has been the reason the Lions may lose a game. You know, he's been a little inconsistent, but he played really well in this game. He made some good throws down the stretch. And in the fourth quarter, he was like 11 of 12 for like 130 yards, and I believe 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
He did what he was asked.
One of them was a touchdown run in the fourth, but he threw that touchdown to Amon-Ra with 6 minutes left in the game to really seal the deal. His first ever playoff game with more than one passing TD, believe it or not. And
I do believe it, but continue.
He got the job done. And, I mean, they were going back and forth. Somebody needed to make a big play. And Jared Goff made a big play and is sending the Lions to the NFC Championship game.
And into the Super Bowl.
He did what was asked of him. Nothing more, nothing less. But I think
he didn't turn the ball over. No picks.
All they needed from him, and when he needed to, towards the end of the game, when it looked like the Bucs might be able to drive down the field and force overtime, Baker throws that late pick, and then you see Goff come out and make a couple throws, quick throws, to get 1 or 2 first downs and seal the game, line up in victory formation. So
some big-time throws down the stretch, put his nuts on the table, said, I'm going to the Super Bowl.
Not a huge stat line, but definitely was the mega moment for the Lions because he has definitely developed into that leader that team needed.
I thought about going Jahmyr Gibbs because he had that big touchdown run.
Yeah.
And he had 74 rushing yards, and he had like 40 more receiving yards, like over 100 all-purpose yards. But Goff had a big impact on that game.
Yeah. Led the team well. Joseph?
All right, well, I'm going to the NBA, my everybody's favorite league, right? And I'm going to go into somebody who had a very big stat line. Mr. Joel Embiid scored 70 points against the Spurs against Wembanyama on 24-41 shooting. He did shoot 23 free throws, so there's that. But he made 21 of them. That's more than Giannis would make. So the dude is leading. His averages for the season are higher in almost every category than they were last year during his MVP season.
Did you see how many points per game he's averaging right now? 36.
Holy shit, dude.
36 points per game right now. This deep into the season is insane.
Yeah,
It's
so
went up the last couple weeks.
dude is on a collision course with back-to-back to be the next back-to-back MVP. Unfortunately for my boy Nikola Jokic, he's not going to do it this year. But maybe without Harden, Joel can finally get it done in the postseason this year. We'll see. But
I
he's
want
my
to see
mega
him
moment.
at least in the Eastern Conference Finals this year.
The East, it looks really weak this year, though. I
Other than
think.
as long as
Other
they don't
than the
match up
top.
with as long as they don't match up with the Celtics before the
thing
Eastern
about
Conference Finals.
The Celtics are becoming. I was thinking about this earlier. The Celtics are becoming the Cowboys of basketball, bro. When was the last time they won anything was like Kevin Garnett in like 2008, right? Which I
the
guess
truth and
isn't that long ago.
the big ticket, yeah.
But like they're talked about as the top team in the East every year, and every year they shit the bed. They lost to an 8 seed last year. They lost to the Warriors. Was that 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
Yeah, when it was basically just
The
Curry.
Steph show.
Yeah, it was
And I don't
literally
think
Curry.
I don't think it was close either.
And
I
they're
think it
not
was
gonna win
4-1.
I don't think they're going to make it out of the East this year. If I'm being honest.
They just don't have that. They don't have that clutch guy. That guy like Tatum is good, but I just watched it against the Nuggets this week. In crunch time, in the final 2 minutes, he missed a layup on a fast break. He either should have held onto the ball or you've got to get the foul there. You cannot go in. You cannot get that steal or that takeaway and go down and not get the bucket to go up. I think they either would have been tied or went up 1. He missed another shot. They don't have anybody where like when the game is on the line, you go give that person the ball.
Yeah.
When you look at when you look at the Bucks, give Dame the ball. Give Dame the ball. When you look at the Sixers, give the ball to Embiid.
Jason Tatum is like he's like Trae Young if Trae Young didn't have that dog in him. He got that Kirk Cousins poodle in him or something.
I was about to say you can't say that about Trae. Trae is clutch as hell.
That's what I said, yeah.
Oh, like
if
he-
Trae didn't have that dog in him, if he wasn't clutch, then that's Jason Tatum.
pretty much, yeah, just a high volume scorer
Mm-hmm.
who was his team's number one option.
And
Yeah, I
he
mean,
got the zesty hair.
You look in the West, there's so many teams where you can go, yeah, I'm giving that dude the ball in crunch time. I don't feel that way about Jason Tatum. I have obviously been an outspoken.
You can't at least like some of these dudes you can be like, yeah, he probably gonna make it.
And
Like,
then
give the ball to D-Book, he probably gonna make the
Yeah.
shot. Give the
That's
ball
what
to,
I'm saying. Like when I look
you
at
give the ball to
Sun- when
Tatum, he might make
Yeah,
it.
when I
if
look
you
at the
give it to
Suns,
Jalen,
let's
Jalen
hope
can't
he
dribble with
makes
his
it.
left hand.
Right, he can't go left. When you look at some of these teams who are being talked about as contenders, like you look at the West, at the top of the West, game on the line, give the ball to Shea. Give the ball to Shea. Game on the line, give the ball to Ant. Game on the line, give the ball to D-Book. Give the ball to KD.
Give the ball to LeBron.
Give the ball to LeBron. I have always said LeBron
Even
is not the
Kings have
clutchest,
that guy.
but I still would trust LeBron more with that final shot than I would Tatum right now. And I got to give Tatum.
Well, LeBron's got a signature move.
I've got to
so-
give Tatum 4 and 6 in the finals is his signature move. Anyways, I got to give credit to Tatum because he's playing really good basketball this year. He's always a great regular season player. He's efficient with the ball. He shoots well from the field. He plays pretty good defense. But he's kind of like Dak. Like when you get to the playoffs, you may or may not get a stellar performance. And unfortunately in basketball, your star players got to have at least two star performances to win
a playoff
a
series.
series. Yes, the word was eluding me. Yes, you got to have somebody like that to win a playoff series. Football's a little different because sometimes your defense can get it done or something like that, or a running back in one game. The NBA is not set up like that, so it'll be interesting to see. But Joel is balling. All right.
Little side note, I just want to give Nick Dunlap his props. Could
Yeah.
have been a mega moment this week.
Little golf.
Jack
clap for-
probably would have been his mega moment. He's younger than all of us, and he just won a PGA Tour event, and he's gonna go pro. They just gave him his tour card, and his pro debut is gonna be at Pebble Beach, and he's gonna get to play. I think he's gonna get to play all the majors too: the Masters, the U.S. Open.
I believe if you win a tournament, you're automatically guaranteed at least a 1-year exemption to all the majors. I believe that's how that works. Don't quote me on that. But yes, mad props to the young man for getting it done.
Shooting like 26, 27 under.
27 under, I think. And the golf he played at the end was so beyond his years because he didn't panic. He also, on the 18th, I don't know if you watched that hole over. On the 18th, there's water to the left, right? He didn't want to be anywhere near that water. And he knew he could miss right. So he missed right. Okay, not a great shot. Ended up over with the fans. The second one, again, he trusted his short game, which he knew was the best part of his game that weekend. Hit another shot up, stayed well right, did not want to play any with the left. Little chip up, tap in par. You get the win. It was very, it was really awesome to see. The pressure didn't get to him. He didn't buckle. He didn't try to do too much. He played well within his game, and that's why he won. That's a lot of times why you see some of these other amateurs not go as far. You'll see them have a really strong start to the weekend, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday they have a bad round because they're really trying to move on moving day. So major props to Nick Dunlap. All right, as always, there is the bad with the good, and there is the ugly with the pretty, and we always got to touch on the ugly. I'm going to start with my mid-moment, and I hate to go here. It really pains me to go here. My mid-moment is going to be the Bills.
Yeah.
It's going to be the Bills as a team. I'm going to highlight pretty much everybody, but I got to do some quick math real quick. I'm going to highlight everybody but Josh Allen. Josh Allen did. You can look at the two missed first downs late in the game and go, well, of course Josh Allen misses those. He had 258 total scrimmage yards, 186 passing, 72 yards on the ground, 3 total TDs, no turnovers. Mahomes only threw for 215 and 2. So you can't look at Josh and go, that game was on Josh. He had Sherfield on that deep ball, on the diver that went straight through his hands. And then he threw one of the most beautiful passes I think I've ever seen in my life, deep down the field to Diggs. And Diggs goes right out of his hands.
The crybaby bitch.
Right out of his hands.
Doesn't get the ball enough.
Those were 2 50-plus yard plays. They would have scored on at least one of them, and they would have had 2 chip shot field goals. So missed opportunities there by the Bills. Your star receiver doesn't show up to play at all. Your top receiver in the game was Kincaid, who had 5 catches for 45 yards.
He's a rookie too, right?
He is a rookie. He had 5 catches on 5 targets. Shakir, 7 catches on 9 targets. And then you go down here to Diggs, 3 catches for 21 yards on 8 targets.
Yeah. Diggs virtually he disappeared.
He had the second most targets on the team this week, man, and he came away with 3 catches.
Not to mention that Make-A-Wish punt, fake punt.
That can be a mid-moment. That's a mid-moment all in and of itself. Just Sean McDermott's coaching. Like, I felt like he coached them out of that game.
That was a terrible call.
You get away with it because the Chiefs give you the ball back on that turnover, but that's a miraculous play. And then you get the ball back, and your star receiver can't catch a deep ball on the ensuing possession. So it doesn't Latavius Murray had more receiving yards than Stephon Diggs did in this game. They had the same amount of catches, and Latavius Murray had 6 more yards.
Out of his last 7, he finished the season with 7 straight games with no TDs. 4 out of those 7 games, he had less than 30 receiving yards.
And you can't bitch about the targets because he had 8 targets.
Yeah.
I will say I can remember 2 that were uncatchable balls.
But
you got to show up in the big moments. When Josh Allen drops a fucking dime in the breadbasket in crunch time, you can't miss that. You can't miss that. You want to talk about yourself like you're a top 5 receiver in the league. You can't miss that.
DJ Moore clears.
So,
out of those 7 games, he also had 1 game with less than 7 targets.
Specifically, my mid-moment is Diggs, McDermott, and I really can't even say the defense, dude. I mean, that defense was dealing with so many injuries this year. It was insane. So the defense did what they could with,
they held Mahomes to, 27?
27 points.
Which isn't terrible.
215 and 2 TDs for Mahomes. Pacheco had 15 carries for 97 yards and a TD. Mahomes' 2 passing TDs both went to Travis Kelce, which you can't really blame because it didn't take a genius to look at the Bills' depth chart and go, you want to know where they're hurting? Linebackers. Who normally drops into coverage against tight ends? Linebackers. Who's the best tight end in the league? Travis
Kittle.
Kelce.
Sam Laporta.
All day, all Travis Kelce had to do was just find the holes in the
three
zone.
best tight ends in the league still in the playoffs.
You would have the 4 best tight ends in the league if Mark Andrews wasn't hurt.
Mark Andrews might play this weekend.
This is what I love about the NFL playoffs.
It's looking like he might suit up for the AFC Championship.
I'll come back to this. Put a pin in that. That's my mid-moment. It was so heartbreaking to see, one, for the Bills fans in Highmark. I mean, it felt like if they were going to make a run, this year was their year. 2, for Josh Allen, because he always gets all the hate. He gets all the hate for the turnovers. But when you watch that game, to me, I understand the turnovers even more. If he's not forcing the issue, nobody's making anything happen. And he didn't force the issue. He had no turnovers. He had 250 total scrimmage yards. He had 3 TDs. He accounted for all 3 of the Bills' TDs. And you still can't get the win. So
I wonder how much it actually...
And McDermott will be my mid-moment of the week.
Yeah, I wonder how much of their lack of success actually comes from McDermott's coaching, because that game should have been... I mean, he got lucky after that fake punt.
Yeah, but they were up. Let's see. Before that final drive for KC, I think, in the first half, they were up 17-6.
They were losing when he went for that fake punt at his own 30. They were down 3. Kansas City should have gone up 10 if I don't know who forced the fumble.
I mean, again, a lot of
Jordan
it comes down
Poyer.
to coaching for me. You look at the box score. They both scored 3 points in the first. It's a close game. Buffalo scored 14 in the second quarter to Kansas City's 10, and it was a late drive in the first half by Kansas City that got them that touchdown. Otherwise, it was 14-6 before that. Then you look at the third quarter. Both teams score 7, so you're up at that point 24-20. You go into the fourth quarter. The Chiefs only scored 1 touchdown in the fourth quarter with all the possessions that you gave them. You scored no points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Of an AFC divisional round game at home with one of the league's best quarterbacks who had no turnovers.
They had 3 drives in the fourth quarter, turnover on downs with the fake punt, a 3-and-out, and a missed field goal.
So
it looks like the Bills might be entering a pretty dark winter for the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, because Josh Allen's
cap
contract. It was like...
Have you seen his cap hit the next couple of years?
I know next year it's 40.
2024 is $47 million. 2025, $56.5 million. 2026, $52.2 million. 2027, $45.28 million. That's 40. The past 3 years, it's been 10, 16, and 18.
Yeah, they wasted the good part of his contract.
Yeah.
And now Poyer is a free agent. Micah Hyde is a free agent. So they're looking at losing basically the cornerstones of that defense for the last 5 years.
And Stefan's probably going to win out.
Stefan's going to win out. Hello?
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 Oh, it sounded like something went out for a minute.
I don't know.
I don't know. My headphones got a lot quieter than they had been for a minute. Stefan's going to win out. I think they finally found their running game in James Cook.
James Cook, yeah.
You do have one of the league's best up-and-coming tight ends.
Yeah, Kincaid.
Your D-line is still intact. You've got Ed Oliver. You've got Rousseau. You've got, there's another guy in the middle whose name I cannot currently think of. But the D-line is good. The problem you're about to have is that secondary. You don't know what you're going to get from Matt Milano next year after that injury.
They've got a perfect dude on the bench waiting his turn.
You don't know what you're going to get from Trey White next year.
He plays his heart out.
That's terrible. That is fucking awful. Yeah, so that's...
I just got it. Damn, dude.
I thought you would laugh at that way earlier than you did.
I thought he was talking about some LSU guy. I was like, this is a biased fan.
Well, they got Trey White. He'll be back next year.
You just don't know what you're going to get out of him yet, and he
When
has
he's-
been injury prone.
When he's healthy, he's very good. But
He's got to be healthy, and you are only going to have the money to re-sign one of those two safeties.
and
You're
you're gonna have to go find your next wide receiver one because Gabe Davis is not it. And
Gabe Davis
T.
is,
Higgins, baby.
Gabe Davis is barely a wide receiver too.
Yeah.
I think they'll probably go get their. They'll at least get a bona fide wide receiver in the draft. I think that's where they got to go with all the wide receiver talent this year.
unless they have a guy like T on the market, because I think we'll let T go, and because the
But,
Bengals
I mean,
are in
the
a
Bengals
position.
can't pay him. What makes you think the
Yeah, that's the only thing.
Bills are going to be able to pay him?
If they draft a guy, they can definitely have him for like the next 4 years for cheap.
I
on
think
a
the
rookie
Bengals are going to
contract.
draft a guy too, because I
Because
think
they're drafting what? They'll be drafting like mid-20s,
Probably
going out in the
upper
divisional
20s.
round.
Probably like 26 to 28.
the Bills
Yeah, because they were a
have
division winner.
they've got the 28th overall pick.
Yeah.
28.
On the money.
So yeah, it'll be. I mean,
Because
Keon Coleman might still be there. Might have to get a guy like Brian Thomas might still be there. I'm gonna check and make sure this thing's still recording because
That bit recording.
it did go. I heard something go out for a minute. It could be the weather. Okay, it's still going. I don't know. That was so weird. Like all the sound from my headphones just disappeared.
Maybe you're just gay.
that could be it. But currently
not-
CBS Sports is
neither confirm nor deny.
CBS Sports mock draft has the Bills taking Xavier Worthy at 28,
Okay.
Who does he play for?
Texas.
Is he a receiver?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
That was Texas.
It has
one guy.
It has the Steelers at 20 taking J.C. Latham,
Is that?
Another tackle.
offensive tackle.
I don't hate it.
He would be a great addition to put on the other
Oh,
side
that
of
would be
Roderick.
such a good pick.
I want us to get Stackhouse next year.
Has the Falcons taking Byron Murphy at number 8.
Yeah, I hate that.
I just don't think he's a number 8 overall talent. I think
I also think you can get away with a less than ideal interior if you've got a good edge. So I don't, with all the edge talent this year, why are you going to go pick a D lineman? That makes no sense. All right. As always, we got off track. So let's come back to mid moments. What is your mid moment?
Mine is a little specific. Is
Okay.
just the Milwaukee Bucks and their head coaches. What is wrong with all these dudes? They are 31-13, and they've been good for a good few years now. Last year, let me see here.
Last year they lost to the Heat.
No, tell me their records. I don't want the
Last year they were the 1 seed in the East.
and lost to the Heat. 58-24 last year. 51-31 the year before. Won the chip the year before that.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand where the Bud firing came from. He had won a chip and then he came back and won 51 games.
Their reasoning was they said that he lost the locker room.
The whole locker room was injured that entire year. That was the Chris Middleton.
Oh, I'm talking about the
Injury
guy
year?
now.
Oh, Adrian Griffin.
Yeah.
Yeah, over the in-season tournament, which I think is just a complete load
How do you
of
lose the
bullshit.
locker room of a team that's 31-13?
Low key, I think they just wanted to snatch up Doc Rivers before LeBron went and got him.
You thought Doc Rivers was
There
there
was,
to
already,
LA.
there was already talks about LeBron wanting, what's his name out? What's that guy's name?
Darvin
Darvin
Ham.
Ham.
Yeah, he wanted Darvin Ham out, and they were talking about Doc Rivers.
They've been talking about getting rid of Ham for a few weeks now.
LeBron has single-handedly ruined the Lakers organization.
Their future,
now.
yeah.
They will be in absolute shambles when
It'll
he's
be
gone.
like right when Kobe left
yeah,
or when
except-
Kobe retired.
No, but I don't think Kobe didn't bankrupt the organization, though. Like,
No, but they were really bad for like 3 years because they
Yeah,
drafted.
but he had to play on that bad team. Like he wasn't getting to go out and go. We're taking this guy and we're going to sign this guy and you're trading this guy and
I
I
need it
don't
for
want
my
this
legacy.
I don't want this fucking coach. He was a lifelong Laker too, so that's
LeBron has done everything in his power to win them a chip, and he did.
the bubble ring. Ooh,
But
Mickey Mouse.
yeah, like they've won 50 games 4 out of their last 5 seasons, and they're 31-13 right now. So
Makes no
they have
sense.
3 coaches on their payroll. What are you doing? Like, obviously the locker room can't be that bad if the dude was 30-13 and Bud took them to the Eastern Conference semis or further every single year up until last year when they lost to a Destiny Heat team.
And that was Adrian Griffin's first year, last year.
I think it was this year. But
No, I believe it was last year.
was it?
I believe so.
Either way.
But yeah, it doesn't make.
And then
No, because they fired their coach after they lost the Heat.
Did they?
I'm pretty sure, yeah, because I remember seeing it.
All right, I got.
Unless it was, I'm thinking of the Suns.
And then going and getting just a legend in Doc Rivers,
Yeah, you're right.
who has won one chip with all the talent he has had in his entire coaching career.
Yeah, you're right. They fired him after the Heat. But again, a team of destiny. That team goes all the way
To the
to
finals.
the finals last year.
They're going to do it again this year. Hey.
Hey, they just got Terry Rozier.
Yeah.
Yeah, big move.
They lost Big Booty, though.
Oh, dude, I'm going to miss him.
They ain't going to have that motivation on the sidelines.
That's
or,
nasty.
or post game.
In the locker room.
All right, let's move on to Joey's mid moment before y'all make me sick.
I heard I'll tell y'all after the episode. It's pretty bad. It's funny, though.
All right, well, mine's going to be quick and very specific. All the talk before the Chiefs-Bills game was, how are the Bills going to win? Kadarius Toney is out. He's not going to give him the game. Well, they were in luck because Mecole Hardman, I know you're a Georgia boy, he filled in Kadarius Toney's shoes perfectly.
Perfectly.
Boy had 4 targets, 2 catches, 5 yards, 2 fumbles.
One lost.
1 lost. So, just a quick little note. Mecole Hardman, I liked you before. He was good. He was still on the Chiefs a couple years ago, wasn't
Yeah, like when they won their
he? Yeah, when they
first
won
one with Tyreek.
Yeah, he was a good number 2 receiver.
He was a good, yeah.
And now it seems like Kadarius Toney just infected the whole locker room there. They're still winning somehow. And hopefully that doesn't continue. But Mecole Hardman, you're my mid moment of the week.
We'll jump right in back into the NFL playoffs. It's so hard to watch the Chiefs at this point because you know who they remind me of?
Who?
Tom Brady's Patriots.
No. It's not. That's not the reason I hate watching them. I hate watching them because of the bitch up in the box office.
Well, I don't like all the off-field drama and the spectacle of like Brittany, Mahomes, and
They're
Taylor
turning
Swift. I don't
their-
like all that. But I'm talking about the team that shows up on the field is very reminiscent to me of the Patriots. Even when you thought it was Peyton Manning's year or it was Big Ben's year or it was whoever else in the AFC and the Patriots are out of it. And here they come. They're gritty. They're a very well coached team. They don't commit a lot of penalties. Obviously, this year they had one of their better defenses they've had in the Patrick Mahomes era, but they just continue to find ways to win, even when you think they're out of it. So
The power of Roger Goodell
yeah,
overtakes
I don't know.
Kadarius Toney.
At this point, I'm kind of I'm hoping
And the longer the Chiefs are in the playoffs, the more money they make.
I hope
Exactly. That's why they're rigging it to keep them in there.
I hope the logo's wrong this year.
Yeah.
I don't mind if Baltimore gets in, but I want to see the Lions beat the Niners.
I do too. I don't know if Debo's playing or not though. That's the thing.
He's been 50-50 all
But
week.
I think
right?
Jameer could run. I mean, Aaron Jones. I mean, he had the one good run that kind of put him over that 100 mark, but he kind of ran it down their throat.
For 3 quarters.
Yeah.
That defense didn't show up till the 4th quarter. And I think as an overall unit, Detroit's defense is much better than the Packers.
Okay. Yeah. I thought you were gonna say the Niners. I was like,
No. No, I'm not.
But I mean,
I'm not
the
an idiot.
Packers did beat the.
on the bright
Lions,
side, the San Francisco's run game is definitely better than their passing game. The Lions.
Run defense is much better than their pass defense.
Well, that's good.
So it's a good matchup.
If the Niners are going to win, the pressure is going to be on Purdy to make throws and to
Hopefully that secondary shows up.
Well, we saw what happened last time. The pressure was on Brock Purdy to make throws. He played Baltimore.
The latest status I have on Debo is he was a non-participant at Wednesday's practice.
I think he will suit up.
He was just doing some sprints and stuff on the side.
I think he will suit up. I could see him having like a Packers type game though, where he comes in for a few plays.
He's a decoy.
And then the injury starts to kill him so much he's got to go sit back on the sidelines. Also talking about the NFL, there's several things I think we need to cover today. One of the main ones being the Titans and the Chargers have both now found their head coaches. The Titans we might have touched on this last week. I don't remember how long he's been hired, but
No, we didn't. I texted you about it like 2 days ago.
okay. My days all run together. Titans found their head coach in Brian Callahan, which I think is a very odd move.
I don't know much about the guy.
I would just say Vrabel had at least a culture in Tennessee that people respected. He's a well-respected coach. He had so far seemed like he had developed Will Levis pretty well.
Yeah.
He was doing everything he could with the talent that he was given. And when you look at that team, like, they play for that dude. They showed up and beat the Jaguars and knocked them out of the playoffs the last game of the season. They had nothing to play for.
Even a guy
That's a team that has a good culture and who respects their head coach.
Even a guy like Taylor Lewan, who's not even in the league anymore, was distraught when he
heard that the Titans fired Vrabel. And now you're going into a rebuild, and you're going to go into a rebuild with a new coach. It just seems very interesting to me.
That coach is not going to do anything more than what Vrabel was going to do.
And Brian Callahan is an offensive mind. Vrabel was a defensive mind, and that's kind of what the city of Tennessee has been built on. Like, over the past 6-7 years of the Vrabel era is a strong defense, a tough, hard-nosed football team that's going to run the ball.
But the thing is today that doesn't really get you over the hump anymore. If you look at all of the teams left.
I guess not, but that team also had no talent this year.
Derrick Henry is one of the best running backs of all time.
That offensive line was terrible, though. That was the worst offensive line they've had in a long time.
But even back when they were at their peak, they couldn't get past the high-flying offense. I mean, if you count the Ravens kind of. But
they should have won that game, though.
Which one?
The Ravens game.
Well, they did.
The AFC
they just
Championship.
They lost to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship.
That's right. They should have beat the Chiefs that year, too.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that was, that would have been a team of destiny, obviously. But
most teams that have a hard-nosed defensive coach lose and don't make it to the chip anymore.
I guess we'll see, depending on where he goes. Tennessee is also a very small market. So, and you traded away A.J. Brown, 2 years ago now? He's your best wide receiver. You've had no outside threats until D-Hop this year. And even then, he was the only one. The only other wide receiver, I can name 2 wide receivers on that team. Traylon Burks, who started to show up later in the season, and Westbrook Hines.
Nick Westbrook-Akine.
Akine, yeah, whatever. Again, very, very average. You had a below-average offensive line, and you traded away your best defensive player during the season, in Kevin Byard. So
for him to go sit in Cancun with you.
I don't know what they expected him to do with that team this year. I also think it's very odd to.
I think it's just the new GM probably has an ego problem and didn't.
Probably, we've seen that a lot. I think recently with just like well-respected coaches, older guys who have experience. It's a power struggle between that new GM and the coach. So very interesting hire for them. I hope it works out for them. I have nothing against Tennessee, but Derrick Henry's gone. I don't believe D-Hop will re-sign.
Tannehill's
gone, so you're definitely in the Will Levis era.
I think they should. I think it'd be funny if they traded Will Levis to the Patriots. Pair him up with Mayo, their coach.
What's the history there? Enlighten me.
What do you mean?
Oh, Mayo boy. Okay,
Yeah.
I get what you're. Yeah, okay. Ha.
You think Giudice would follow him?
They're broken up, man.
You think she would try and come back and
I don't know.
take some of his money?
She can come to Atlanta.
She can come to Atlanta.
Anytime, you were more than welcome. Damn, y'all threw me off real hard with that. Hold up. Harbaugh. The Chargers. Harbaugh. An interesting hire.
9-8 season on the way.
There's just I don't know if he's going to, hopefully they have patience with him, because it's going to be hard to come in and be the top seed in the AFC West this next season. Because the roster, if you look up the Chargers roster right now, it will not look at all similar to the roster that will show up week 1 on the field for them. You got a lot of question marks when it comes to cap on that team. Khalil Mack, an older Keenan Allen. Justin Herbert's salary cap is about to start hitting just like Josh Allen's was. They wasted the good years of that salary cap.
Yeah.
You're not going to have Austin Eckler. I don't think they're going to re-sign him.
I wouldn't. He's going to want a lot of money too.
So your first round pick last year, Quentin Johnston, looks like
Yeah.
a bust even for where he was drafted.
Big bust.
So it'll be interesting. He does have the quarterback, which I think coming into a new team that's got a lot of issues, if you have your franchise quarterback, you've at least got a starting point. Like whoever gets the Falcons job is coming in with like he's got all the extra pieces. He's missing
The main one.
He's missing the main piece, and he's missing
the king on the chessboard.
He's missing the manual. Like he's got everything but that main piece. So I think for Harbaugh, it's a good thing that you have Herbert, but that team is going to have to undergo some major reconstruction via trade, probably some cuts.
I mean, you never know, though. Everyone thought the Texans were going to be shit with a new coach and a new quarterback. And
I don't think the Chargers will be bad by any means. I think Harbaugh can take them to the playoffs next year. It's just going to be tough to compete this year, like be an AFC championship contender, because of all the cap issues that they're going to be dealing with, especially paying guys like Khalil Mack and Keenan Allen, both 32 plus, a combined like $70 million next year. Very hard to win in the league when you're paying two 32 plus year old dudes at the linebacker and wide receiver position $70 million next year.
You think they got a chance to dethrone the Chiefs?
No. Next year, no.
when Andy Reid retires,
Maybe.
then we're talking.
I think they'll be good. I mean, yeah, it might take a couple years, but his first 3 seasons in the NFL, he made the NFC Championship. He made the Super Bowl once.
Yeah. You know who he beat to get to that Super Bowl, though?
The Falcons.
The Falcons, and it was on a missed kick. So
The Falcons were good then.
yeah, we were, but we shouldn't have lost that game. We choked. We pulled in Atlanta, so that's why Harbaugh has been to a Super Bowl. And then didn't they get smacked by his brother?
I don't think it was smacked, but I don't know. I don't remember. That
They-
wasn't the power game, was it? Wasn't that the game the power went out?
No.
Pretty sure it was. I know the Ravens were in that game.
Oh,
In
no,
New
you're right. It
Orleans?
was a very close game, 34-31.
Is it New Orleans?
Yep.
Yeah,
The
so it was
Superdome.
power
It was
outage
the
one.
power game?
Yeah.
Power went
Okay.
out. You had the kickoff return, TD at the beginning of the second half. It'll be interesting to see. Obviously,
Jacoby.
huh?
Jacoby, the Ravens?
Yeah.
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 Fuck that guy. He's the one that Mike Tomlin stepped out in front of.
Really?
Yeah.
We still got some more coaching hires to happen. Obviously, there's still a few vacancies. The Panthers' job is still open.
The Falcons.
The Falcons' job is still open.
The
Panthers'
Raiders.
job feels like it's been open for like 4 months now, bro. That's crazy.
The Raiders made Antonio Pierce the guy.
Yeah.
I think that was a good move for the Raiders. You've
I mean, if they
tried to go out and get the sensible pick the last 2 times, and both times it has blew up in your damn face. So at least get a guy that understands your culture, that will have you playing Raider football, and can at least make you competitive. I mean, they were competitive in every game that he coached this season. Obviously, same thing as the Falcons there. You've really got a question mark at quarterback. Do you stick with O'Connell? Do you ride Jimmy G for another season with that contract? Or do you go out and try to either draft or find your guy in free agency? So they got some questions to answer. We will see. All right, we are going to start talking more. We do need to talk some NBA today, but I was thinking we could probably break down some of the 2 championship games a little bit. Obviously, we got Pick'em if you guys want to check that out, but
you will check it out.
you will.
For sure.
You will watch it. I am a little worried about the Ravens-Chiefs game. I do not want to see Patrick Mahomes go to another Super Bowl.
Man, it's not Patrick Mahomes. It's Travis Kelce, who I don't want to see going to the Super Bowl.
I don't hate Lamar.
I do. Fuck the Ravens.
Well, that's just a divisional rival. That would be like if the Panthers were in the NFC Championship right now. I'd be rooting for whoever is playing them. Unless
Except
it was
for
Kansas
that.
City. I'm not
Yeah.
rooting for Kansas City, man. I can't take it. But it does make me nervous that it seems like regardless of the circumstances, Patrick Mahomes gets it done. Like he has The GOAT is the GOAT, and Tom Brady is the GOAT, but he has looked like a spitting image of the GOAT so far in his career.
Maybe because it's rigged.
I mean, I guess you can say that. Yeah, I guess we'll really figure it out if it's a Ravens-Niners Super Bowl.
I hope not.
No, I feel like they wouldn't make it that obvious though.
They have the last 2 years though.
Yeah, but people started catching on. I feel like if it was actually rigged, they would make sure one of those teams was not in it to throw off the trend.
To throw off the scent.
Talking about it.
Throw people off the scent. We'll see. I just think that would be such an underwhelming Super Bowl.
I don't know. I mean, the first matchup disappointed severely. Families were not fed. People went hungry. Maybe this time it's different.
I could see it being the same exact thing. Obviously, Brock Purdy's not going to throw 4 picks, but that Ravens defense is very, very, very good, and they do something that the Niners are not good at stopping. They run the ball well. So we'll see. That would be a very underwhelming Super Bowl to me.
What Super Bowl matchup do you want to see? Ravens-Lions?
Ravens-Lions. Yeah. I can't root for Kansas City. I just can't.
The Ravens beat the dog shit out of the Lions earlier this year too, like really bad.
Damn, Patrick Mahomes really has the highest win percentage in the playoffs ever.
He's already won
13.
17 playoff games.
13.
13? Oh yeah, because he does have a couple losses in there. He's got 13 wins. So he is, I think, 12-1 against, or he's 13-1 against the field. He's 0-2 against Tom Brady in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So he's got 3 playoff losses, and 2 of them came to the GOAT.
That's the thing that people are going to hold against him when he gets to like the Tom Brady stat-wise level as well. You got your ass clapped by him twice.
And his age 43 and 44 seasons.
Yeah, if only fucking LeBron and MJ could have played, then we could just say, well, MJ smacked his ass as an old man.
Yeah, we could just settle the debate.
Unfortunately, LeBron was too much of a bitch to be born 5 years earlier.
I did see a stat the other day. It was the highest average through a playoff series in NBA history. LeBron did not even crack the top 10. Obviously, you can guess who was number 1.
Yeah,
Mr. the GOAT, Michael Jordan, was number 1 with he averaged 41 points per game in a playoff series.
Patty Mahomes is already number 6 in postseason touchdown passes all time.
Travis Kelce needs 7 catches to pass Jerry Rice
Fuck Travis
for the most playoff receptions of all time.
I don't know why, but it feels like with the NFL season that we've had and all this crazy stuff going on, we're in store for a terrible Super Bowl.
It wouldn't surprise me.
I feel like no matter what...
I wouldn't be surprised to see like a Rams-Patriots Super Bowl if the Niners get in, just with how good that defense is and how underwhelming
That's why
some of the offense has been.
It seems like every game the Lions are in, it's a good game. So we got to have the Lions in there.
Hopefully they can pull it off.
I haven't watched a single Lions game this year that wasn't good.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, other than the Falcons game at the beginning of the season, but that was more because the Falcons were underwhelming in that game.
Wasn't that a London game too?
No, that was in Detroit.
Okay.
It would have been a close game had Desmond Shitter not showed up in true form, but it's kind of hard to win games when he's playing quarterback.
In terms of not getting to see Mahomes, I would obviously rather see like Lions-Ravens, but I think Lions-Chiefs would be a better game.
Probably. Just the way the two teams match up against each other, probably.
You know what Patrick Mahomes' record as an underdog is? He's played 11 games as an underdog.
11-0.
8-3.
Still not bad.
It's not bad at all.
Still not bad.
Straight up. Not even covering the spread or anything.
I'm just afraid if the Chiefs make it in, they're not going to let the Chiefs lose to the Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl.
Hey, they let the Patriots lose to the New York Giants twice. And Nick Foles.
I guess that's fair. That's fair. I guess you got to lose a few. But that would make Patty, 2-4 in Super Bowls?
Either way, we're either going to get, there's a good chance we're either going to get a Chiefs-Niners rematch or a Ravens-Niners rematch.
Yeah, the Lions winning just seems so out there for the script, especially now that the game isn't like the NFL was milking those ticket sales for the two. Detroit got to have 2 playoff games at home.
Yeah.
Now that they're not playing at home, they're out in the Bay. They're like, yeah, just all right,
Fuck them.
Season's over. Go home. It'll be interesting to see. I think what'll be most important in that Chiefs-Ravens game will be what version of Lamar do we get? Do we get the super efficient, can extend plays with his legs, runs for 100 yards Lamar that we just saw against the Texans?
Or do we get the typical playoff Lamar?
Or do we get a flustered, out of the pocket, not being able to extend plays Lamar who throws a pick and has a fumble in this game?
Well, knowing Andy Reid, he's probably going to do what only one other team does, and that's just play defense the way Pittsburgh plays defense, because we're the only team that can really stop Lamar consistently, and nobody learns from it. I mean, all we do is we rush the shit out of him, and we have.
He's like Tua. If you can make him super uncomfortable,
But your guys have to be able, like your edge rushers have to be quick enough to get him.
Well, you also have to you've got to set the edge and keep him in the pocket.
Yeah.
You got to fluster him and keep him in the pocket. If
And
you
you
let
gotta
him
have
step up,
Big ass Cam Hayward there to lay the pipe down on him.
that's nasty.
I mean, he didn't throw for very much against the Texans. He was efficient, but he only threw for $152.
But I think I'm worried a little bit because I don't know how good the Chiefs edge rushers are, but if they can force Lamar up into the pocket, Chris Jones is going to bury that ass.
All game. And they don't have the best outside talent at receiver. And the Chiefs have 2 very good cornerbacks in L'Jarius Sneed and who's the other guy?
McDuffie.
McDuffie. Yeah, Trent McDuffie. You got 2 very good corners going up against Zay Flowers and I guess
OBJ.
Odell.
OBJ legacy game loading.
We'll see how that goes.
It'll be his one good game every 20
every
games
quarter
he plays.
century. Yeah.
Perfect time for it.
Um,
Hopefully it doesn't tear an ACL this week.
Dude, don't say that. That's terrible.
I don't think he has another one left to tear.
He's like
there's-
Michael Penix.
There's no cartilage there anymore. All right, let's talk some NBA because it will be all we have to talk about here soon. So we might as
I can't wait.
might as well start now. All right, so we already touched on the MVP conversation a little bit with Joel, but just to give some people some idea of just how far he is separating himself from the rest of the league. He's currently averaging 36 on 54% shooting right now on an 89% clip from the charity stripe. The next guy closest to him is Luka, who's averaging almost 34 on 48% shooting, only 77% from the free throw line. And you got Giannis at 31 and SGA at 31 and KD right below them at 29, and then everybody after that is around 27. He's averaging a double-double with 36 and 12. And then 6 assists, 2 blocks per game. Turning the ball over at a pretty efficient, I say efficient there. I definitely messed that up. But not turning the ball over a lot compared to like how many shots he's taking and how long he has with the ball and everything like that. So right now, he is clearly the MVP. Clearly the MVP. I think something interesting is our Supermax guy, Jaylen Brown, is 26th in points per game right now. He's averaging 23. Some of the guys above him right now in points per game: Paul George, obviously Tyrese, Lauri Markkanen, Kawhi,
Yeah.
Julius Randle,
Yeah.
Desmond Bane,
Hell yeah.
both LeBron and AD.
Yeah.
Kyrie, Damian Lillard, Maxey, Ant, Nicola, Brunson, Steph, Trey, his
Luka.
teammate Jason Tatum, D-Book, De'Aaron. I don't really
Malcolm Brogdon's closing in.
where is Malcolm Brogdon
I'm
in
just
terms
kidding.
Last
I don't
night.
know.
I mean, Cade Cunningham's averaging almost as much as Jaylen Brown. Terry Rozier is averaging less than, let's see. Terry Rozier is averaging like 0.4 points less right now
He got a
than
dog.
Jaylen Brown is. Paolo Banchero is right there. DeMar is almost averaging as much as Jaylen Brown. So that's a little. I knew that contract was bad to begin with, but I think it's kind of funny. He's probably going to finish somewhere in the below the top 30 in points per game this year.
I used to like Jaylen Brown, and then during the playoffs last year, it slowly declined, and now it's like I really don't like him.
Luka.
Obviously, he's not rebounding at a crazy. I mean, he's not top 50 in boards, and he's not. Let's see, assists. He's not top 50 in assists, so I don't really know. I don't really know where that supermax came from. You got damn DeJounte Murray and Austin Reeves averaging more assists. Trey Jones averaging more assists. Malik Monk averaging more assists than Jaylen Brown right now.
Malik Monk, really?
Malik Monk is currently 30th. He's averaging 5.5 assists.
He's the second. He's second place in odds for 6th man of the year, so he's not even a starter.
Yeah, the top 5 right now in assists per game. Tyrese is averaging 12.6. Trey, even with that terrible Atlanta team, is averaging 11. Luka 9, Jokic 9, Harden 8.5, Van Fleet 8.5, and then you've got Sabonis, D-Book, LeBron, and Cade Cunningham rounding out the top 10.
While also putting up MVP numbers, Luka is getting people ejected.
Oh yeah, the fan last night is just ridiculous.
Did
dude.
you see what he said?
Uh-uh.
He said, "Luka, you're tired. Get your ass on the treadmill." And Luka just went, "Sir, can you escort this mean person out of the stadium?"
Sounds about right. Hey, my Atlanta Hawks are now the 10 seed in the East. So
Yes, sir. 18-26.
yes, sir.
Let's go.
8 games below 500, baby. Barely edging out the Brooklyn Nets and the Toronto Raptors.
Just good enough to sell tickets.
Hey, the Pistons
Barely.
are 2-8 in their last 10. Looking like they're not going to be the
Who else
worst
did they
fucking
beat?
team of all time.
Hey, they just
They
beat the Hornets.
at home.
Bogey had 34
Damn.
points.
The same Hornets team that beat the Timberwolves.
Yes. When Cat dropped 60. That's
How many more?
hilarious, too, by the way.
How many more games can they realistically win? Washington?
They played 44, so they still have
Fouty foul.
They still got 38
8 games left.
games.
10
I'm not
and-
going through their whole schedule.
10
'cause-
and 72.
Dude, did y'all know the Thunder are in first place right now
Yeah.
in the West?
You know when the last time they were in first place was?
2013.
Yeah, that's right.
Damn, I just kind of took a stab at one of the KD years.
I think it's going to be tough for the Pistons to get 5 more wins. I think their schedule's kind of tough.
The
I don't think
Warriors
so.
are currently 12th in the West at 19 and 22.
Steve Kerr is done.
I mean, it's just like that team was built around the 3 draft
Amigos.
picks. Yeah, Draymond, Clay, and Steph.
It's going to be real tough once those guys finally decide to hit the sack. Because they don't.
But I mean, you can say that
Clay already needs to, man.
Yeah, Clay, when he tore his Achilles or his
Draymond
ACL,
definitely need to go.
he fell off a cliff. Fell off a cliff, dude.
Clay
It's
should
sad
have
to see, too,
Clay should have retired after Steph won that Finals MVP year.
because Clay was one of my favorite players to watch because he was such a good defender, too, for a shooting guard. So it was very fun to see him shoot like he did and then go down the court and play defense.
Nah, he just can't keep up.
He can't keep up. He's lost his step. He's a step behind everybody.
Did you see they intentionally left Draymond off the player pool for the Olympics because he kept getting
Because of
because
his
of his
suspension.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because Steve Kerr is the head coach of USA basketball.
The USA team is going to be loaded this year, though. You
Yeah.
seen the player pool?
Mm-mm.
We
LeBron,
coming for some
KD.
dudes.
Whoa.
LeBron, KD, AD, and Kawhi, Paul George.
Bam, Paolo, just some notable guys. D-Book, Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson, Jimmy B, Steph, AD, KD, Ant, Embiid. Damn. De'Aaron Fox, Tyrese, Chet, Kyrie, Triple J, LeBron, Kawhi, Dame, Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum, Derek White,
Chris
Trae
Paul.
Young.
Man, we taking that W.
We coming to whoop some Soviet ass this year in basketball. I think the last Olympics we got embarrassed.
Some of these dudes we're playing probably have never even seen a human being like this.
Is Josh Giddey playing?
Josh Giddey is, I believe, Canadian,
I thought he was Australian.
Australian. So he'll probably be playing for the Aussies.
In 21,
I'll be pulling for him.
in 21, the U.S. Oh, it says the U.S. took gold in 21. Okay, so maybe we didn't get embarrassed in 2020. I thought we did, though. Tokyo 2020. Rio 2016. We also took gold. London 2012. We also took gold.
The last time we didn't win gold was 2004.
You know who was leading the team then?
MJ.
No, it says we won in 2004.
We won the bronze medal.
In 2004? Then the Olympic Games website is wrong.
Oh, I'm on Wikipedia.
Well, yours is wrong.
Wikipedia is a reputable source.
So
No,
far,
there was one team that lost, and they had to bring in Kobe because that's what the whole Redeem team was
maybe
about.
it's just not. Is it not?
Because LeBron couldn't get the job done by himself. They had to bring in Kobe to do it.
Oh, okay. It's because I wasn't changing. You have to like pick the event and everything to.
Were you looking at water polo or some shit?
Okay, yes, it is fucking. It was 2004. Argentina won the gold medal in basketball in 2004.
Luis Scola.
Yeah, because 08's the Olympics. They brought in Kobe.
The Redeem team.
Yeah.
Have you seen that documentary?
No.
Yes, I have.
It's pretty good.
Was it
It really puts into perspective who the real GOATs are.
Kobe?
It's not LeBron.
I sent him something.
LeBron's in there goofing off with Carmelo the whole time. Kobe's in the gym.
I sent him a video the other day, and it was 5 minutes of just NBA players explaining why
LeBron.
Kobe is better than LeBron.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't even MJ. It was, I think I sent him one of both. It was like players saying Kobe's better and players saying MJ's better.
I didn't watch either of them.
Nah, of course he didn't. He doesn't. His glorious king can't be dethroned. I think he brought up a good point that I had watched on something else. It was a girl talking about the NBA, and she was like, my GOAT is Kobe Bryant because I grew up in that era. That was the basketball superstar when I grew up watching the NBA. So that is my GOAT. She was like, but basketball's GOAT is Michael Jordan. She was like, it doesn't matter what era you grew up in. She was like, I think people need to start kind of having that awareness and that, thought process of, okay, I didn't get to watch MJ. So it's hard to say he is my GOAT because I didn't get to watch him. If you take LeBron as your GOAT and you're 20 years old, LeBron is your GOAT. It doesn't mean he is the GOAT. I think there's a separation because you never got to watch MJ play. Same thing with Kobe. Like, it's hard for us to really, for me, it's hard to throw Kobe in there because Kobe's best years were early 2000s with Shaq, and then when they went back and won those two finals in the late 2000s.
I think
I was
the best
still only
gauge
like
is a
6,
guy
7,
like
8.
a guy like Shaq, who's played against or with all of them, and we know who he says the GOAT is. So
Well, I know his tier list. It goes MJ, Kobe, Bron.
yeah.
Meta World Peace.
Maybe he might be top 5. Ron Artest.
What about Lou Alcindor?
Lou Alcindor.
Lou Alcindor.
Oh, fucking Kareem.
Bro, I was looking for one of my videos I'm posting. It was multiple finals MVPs or fall finals MVPs that were drafted first overall. I was looking through. I was like, where's Kareem? He's got to be on here somewhere. And it said fucking Lou Alcindor. I was like, damn.
Before the name change. Before the conversion.
That's a wild name change. Why would you take...
That's what religion is that?
I'm pretty sure he's Muslim. That's why he changed.
Muslim, yeah.
Okay.
Same thing with Muhammad Ali. His given name was Cassius Clay. And then Muhammad Ali, like two completely different names. Not even close, no relation to each other. It's just, they change their name when they convert, which is crazy. Yeah, it is kind of crazy to go from Lou Alcindor.
That's this season's pod punishment. Is you gotta
Change your name to Lou Alcindor?
no, you gotta
no.
no, you have to change your name because of the religion. You have to change your name to something.
I wouldn't. I guess I can change my name to Zachariah.
I'll change my name to Joseph. That's all I'm doing.
I'm.
You have to change your name
Christian.
to Kareem.
I'm Christian, and my mom literally just didn't want to give me Zachariah, so she named me Zachary.
You gotta be named Jesus. Jesus Twilly.
Jesus Twilly.
I mean, you could pass as a Jesus.
If we're really doing it, let's just do something real goofy. Let's just do like Juan. Let's just make it real
Juan.
Real fucking.
I think we should try to. The losers should have to get something tattooed on like their nutsack.
Oh,
This podcast.
You've gotten a tattoo.
Yeah.
You can't tell me you would ever sign up for that.
I'm not gonna lose.
Okay, but let's say if you did lose, and that's what we had all agreed upon prior, there's no way you're doing that.
No, I'm not.
A needle on my nuts, dude? The fuck is the matter with you? That sounds terrible. I don't even like, these hurt. I'm not fucking, no way some dude's getting near my nuts with a needle.
You can be a woman.
Just thing 1 and thing 2.
They can put you to sleep and do it.
You'll fondle them up, she.
Dude, they'd probably be bruised too because they got to push down.
Is she gonna ask you to be hard or soft for that?
If you're asleep, it don't matter. But if I'm asleep,
They got to make you. They got to make you real cold, so they just
Kind of shrivel up.
kind of scrunch up, make it easier to like put pressure on them.
Now that'd be harder because then you got to get. Yeah, that'd be harder.
Yeah, they need to be full fruit hanging.
Oh, so you got to be sweating.
Because if not, then if there's like wrinkles and shit, it's hard to get the
Oh.
design.
Yeah, and then think about when they expanded back, how good, like it would already look goofy.
Dude,
but
it would be dope if you got like a puffer fish on there.
oh my god, no woman would ever go down on you again. Literally, you get to your bedroom and she'd take your pants off and she'd be like,
You gotta get-
Actually,
you
I just thought about it. I'm sick. I gotta go home.
You can get it on the backside.
Oh. So now what? This lady, like, if this is your nuts, is she holding them up like this so she can draw?
You just have to lay
underneath?
flat on the table.
Oh, you talking about ass up?
Yeah.
Oh, this legs spread.
There's like a little hole in the table, so she can get underneath and like.
Then the only time your girl see it is if she's pegging you.
well,
Don't
I
do
guess you would
anything-
never see him.
Don't
so
do
I guess
anything
that's-
crazy.
I guess that's nice. That's definitely not gonna be the fucking punishment.
This
that's
podcast
gonna be.
is all about breaking news. We got some breaking news in the NFL. The
It'll-
Panthers have just hired their head coach.
Really?
Yes.
Who do they hire?
Buccaneers offensive coordinator Dave Canales.
That's a left field pick right there.
That means nobody wanted that fucking job. That's what that tells me. Is everybody? They went and interviewed everybody they fucking good, and everybody was like,
Even Matt Canada ain't want that job.
I kind of like my coordinator position. They probably went out and interviewed a few quarterbacks coaches, and they were like,
They probably
I like
interviewed
where I'm
Colin
at.
Kaepernick, and he was like,
It was just his first year as the Bucs offensive coordinator.
"They're gonna be ass, bruh."
they're gonna suck for a long time, a real long time.
See what other jobs he's had.
Bryce Young is gonna turn out to be a generational bust.
He was with Russ for a few years.
That's the quarterbacks coach.
He was the quarterbacks coach of the Seahawks from 18 to 19 and the passing game coordinator from 20 to 21. 22, he went back to the QB coach. From 2010 to 2017, he was the Seahawks wide receivers coach.
Sounds like a guy with a lot of experience.
And then he was at USC, and then he was at El Camino College, and then he was at Carson High School. Sounds like a Brandon Staley-ass hire.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
this one will work out though.
What did I tell you though? It just tells me that nobody wanted that fucking job.
I don't blame anybody.
I wouldn't want that job.
No.
Oh, I want to go over that thing on the NBA real quick. I think the NBA is becoming too impatient. I don't think in any other sport, baseball, because of no cap, you can go assemble the fucking Avengers. If you're the Dodgers, you've got money to piss on. You can go try and win right now. But unless it works out for them right now, we have seen it never works out in the NBA or in the MLB. Never happens. You can't do it in the NHL. I mean, obviously we don't know too much about the NHL, but I've never heard anything about a super team in hockey. You can do it in the NFL, but it still takes more time. Like you can't do it all in one season.
You got to get
You
lucky.
can't do it all through trading. You can't do it all through drafting. You can't do it all through free agency. You have to bring those three pieces together to form like a 49ers team. But then they're still missing. They've got elite talent all across the field except at quarterback.
Debatably,
And we'll see how the next two games, the end of the season goes. But he is not. He'll never be Patrick Mahomes. He'll never be Lamar Jackson.
could be
He'll
Tom
never
Brady,
be
though.
Josh Allen. He'll never be Joe Burrow. Like he'll never be that.
He could be Joe Burrow.
Come on.
Joe Burrow's not like a freak athlete. He's just a great quarterback.
Yeah, his IQ is what wins him games, and his pocket presence. He's not like
He's
the
like
most
Tom Brady. He's probably less. You think he's more or less athletic than Aaron Rodgers? Burrow.
about the same.
I feel like I've seen Aaron Rodgers.
A little bit more, but not.
You think more?
More?
Aaron Rodgers in his prime. I think Aaron Rodgers in his prime was more mobile than Joe Burrow is.
I don't know. Joe be getting out of the pocket sometimes.
I'm gonna have to show you some Rodgers highlights because you're gonna have to see some Rodgers highlights. I'm gonna have to show you. I mean, I think Matt Stafford in his prime was more athletic than Joe Burrow.
Okay.
I think they're about the same.
I think,
Matt Stafford was a lot more blocky than Rodgers was,
yeah, Rodgers was very wiry,
and nimble.
very agile,
Stafford got the shit hit out of him like every game.
the toughest quarterback in the league. But yeah, the NBA is getting too impatient. I mean, you've got a team that is second in the Eastern Conference at 31-13.
There's been a
And they've got the second. They're tied for the second best record in the league. The only team with a better record than them is the number one seed, Boston Celtics, who have won 34 games. They have only lost 10 games. They're 34-10, a 7.73 winning percentage. And you go and fire your head coach because he lost the locker room over a bullshit in-season tournament. Seriously? And then you've got all these, LeBron with the Lakers playing GM, and every single season now they have went and traded, at least 3 players, at least before the trade deadline, making moves every single year. You got Boston doing it. You signed Tatum, you signed Jaylen Brown to a supermax, you go out and trade for Drew Holiday, and then you sign Kristaps. Again, trying to, we got to win right now. We're going to do everything we can to win right now. Same thing with...
I think they drafted Tatum, though.
Yes, but, I mean, they might have even drafted Brown, but you give them that max because you're like, we got to win now. We can't go get anybody else of this caliber, right now. We would have to wait till free agency or something, next year, something like that. We got the Suns trading literally everything they got to go get Bradley Beal now after trading almost everything they had to get Kevin Durant with D-Book.
And the team that beat all of them was the team that didn't do any of it, the Denver Nuggets.
Exactly. So I think the NBA is going to ruin itself in that sense by just teams like, we got to win now.
The Clippers are bad, too.
The Clippers are really bad. They've been
Russ,
bad for
Harden, and PG and Kawhi.
Yeah.
Now, I guess Kawhi signed there in free agency.
Russ was traded.
PG was traded from the Thunder, I think.
And Harden.
Yeah, he was part of the Shea trade, right? SGA.
I think so.
Yeah.
And then Harden was traded. Yeah, see, again, an impatient team. Nobody wants to draft anymore. Nobody wants to wait to develop a young roster. That's why the Thunder are so good right now, because they have been one of the only patient teams in the league. And it has paid off times 10. I mean, most people still thought they were at least 2 years away from competing, and they are the number one seed right now in the Western Conference at 31-13. So I think either this year or next year is going to do it. Teams are going to have to break back down and start running an organization from a fundamental standpoint again. Draft, role players, sign the guys that have earned the money, but the rest of them, you assemble a roster around role players and guys who play defense, guys who play well without the ball. I think is what we're going to see kind of a return to when you see a team like the Celtics this year get put out in the Eastern Conference semis again. by a team that did not go out and trade the house or spend a fortune on max contracts.
Yeah, I think the draft has the past couple years. It's not like they've just been some weaker classes recently. Some more projects that require more development. So some of these teams like 2022, you got Paolo. Paolo's good. He doesn't really need development. Chet. Jabari Smith was a 3rd overall pick. That's an okay 3rd overall pick. He's been pretty good in Houston, but he's not a game changer. Keegan Murray, 4th overall pick. He's pretty good. Jaden Ivey, 5th overall pick. He's all right. So
Yeah,
it seems like you used to have like headline guys like Anthony Davis in 2012. You knew that dude was gonna immediately come into the league and be the guy for your team.
Andrew Wiggins, 2014.
I think you could say the same about Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
Like
Zion Williamson had the hype, but
like Patrick Williams is a number 4 overall pick. He was pretty good, but he's a project. He's like the Tyree Wilson of the NBA draft, and I feel like with more international guys wanting to come over to the NBA and play, and in these drafts, they've never played the American game before. They don't know how it works in comparison to Europe. They require more development. There's some growing pains. So some of these teams are like,
like this past draft, number 1 was Wembanyama, who everybody knew he's going to be a stud.
Mm-hmm.
He's also very, very young. He's 19.
Just raw.
But then the number 2 pick this past year was Brandon Miller.
Hey, he on a hot streak. I ain't gonna lie.
He's been playing well, but like the 3rd overall pick was Scoot, who everybody knew needed development. I think, is it Amen or
it's Amen and Asar.
Amen and Asar have been decent, but those aren't like huge names. I don't know who Anthony Black is. I'm going to be so serious.
Brandon Miller's last 4 games, he's got 24, 23, 27, 23.
Okay, so that was a solid number 2 pick. But like the number 7 pick this year was
Bilal
Coulibaly.
In that Minnesota game, he shot 11 for 13.
Jarris Walker, Taylor Hendricks, Kaysen Wallace, Jet Howard, Derek Lively. Grady Dick was the 13th overall pick this year.
They've just been
not as many. Yeah, I agree with you.
The draft has become it is
very top heavy.
Yes, and it has made it to where you do need to trade or sign if you want that dude. Like you can't draft.
But that's not necessarily true. It just depends on where you're drafting. Like
you can't draft.
The Magic got their guy last year at 1 in Paolo. OKC got their guy at 2 in Chet. Jabari Smith was a little bit of a reach for the Rockets. But then, after that, like Keegan Murray, Jaden Ivey, Shaden Sharp, Jeremy Sochan.
Yeah.
Like
terrible pick.
None of these
terrible pick.
None of these guys down through here
I think that's part of the reason, though. That we drafts are part of the reason why they're being impatient, because why would you wait for a guy when you can just throw a first-round pick? Because they're pretty much worthless if you're not maybe a top 3 lottery pick. Just throw it and get like a guy like, I don't know, you could get Trae Young for a couple guys in a first-round pick. And the first-round picks are still valued pretty high for some reason, even though you're going to end up with
like
fucking Janice Walker, whoever that is.
In 21, the top 4 picks in 21. Cade, okay, that's a franchise guy. Jalen Green at 2 is not he's not that dude. He's been good, but he is not like who you build a roster around. Evan Mobley has been serviceable for the Cavs, but when you look at like some of the productions, 4 was Scotty Barnes, like 5 was Jalen Suggs. When you look at some of these guys, if you look at the top 5 picks in the NBA draft over the last couple of years, and you go compare it to like the top 5 picks in the NFL, the expectations, the production, the value in those top 5 picks is so It's on such opposite ends of the spectrum for the two leagues. It's insane. It's absolutely insane.
Most top 5 guys in the NFL, unless you're like taking a flyer on a QB because you need one, most I would say top 5 picks are plug and play guys.
Yeah.
You cannot say that about the NBA. James Wiseman, that dude was the number 2 overall pick, and he sucks butt.
Does he play for the Pistons now? Is he still there?
Yeah.
The 2023 NFL draft, Bryce Young, okay, obviously not working out.
But he was plug and play.
He was plug and play, and they had to have a quarterback.
And
CJ.
Elite.
Will Anderson.
Elite.
Anthony Richardson has a ton of potential.
He was good before he got doo-dooed on.
That's one of those flyers, but for a team who needed a quarterback. Devon Witherspoon was looking like he's defensive rookie of the year.
He's probably going to be number 2 behind Jalen Carter.
Paris Johnson Jr., the 6th overall pick, was a plug-and-play tackle for a team who desperately needed one. Tyree Wilson was a terrible pick by the Raiders, but that's a Raiders
Classic Raiders pick.
Bijan, plug-and-play. If
Franchise record setter.
Yeah, if CJ didn't exist, well, Puka. But so he is still in the offensive rookie of the year conversation. Jalen Carter, defensive rookie of the year conversation at 9. Darnell Wright was a plug-and-play guy at 10. Peter Skoronski was a plug-and-play guy at 11. We saw what Jahmyr Gibbs did. Lucas Van Ness played a ton of meaningful minutes for the Packers this year. Roderick Jones, once they finally put him on the field.
Oh, I found out why they put him on the field. I don't know who he was supposed to play, but apparently our starting tackle came out in the locker room and spoke against Matt Canada, so they benched his ass for the rest of the year.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn. I don't understand why you draft a tackle at 14, though, if you don't plan on playing him.
I think they planned on playing him, but I think the other guy just beat him out in training camp.
15, Will McDonald played good minutes for the Jets. Emmanuel Forbes played decent minutes for the Commanders. Christian Gonzalez was looking like a DROI until, he tore his pec. Even Jack Campbell at 18 made a difference. You even had guys all the way down like 25. Dalton Kincaid made a huge difference.
I would say like 70% of first-round picks in the NFL usually are, you can play them in their first year.
Yeah, like if I just look at the 2021 NFL draft versus the 2021 NBA draft, so let's compare. All right, number 1 in 21 was Trevor Lawrence.
Yep.
I would say him and Cade are probably on the same level when it comes to number 1 picks. Okay, number 2 was Jalen Green. Number 2 in that draft was Zach Wilson. So the NBA gets number 2 there. Number 3 was Evan Mobley. Number 3 here was Trey Lance. So the NBA gets the number 3 overall pick there. But then like Scotty Barnes and Kyle Pitts have probably done, for where they were drafted, they probably put up.
I would take Scotty. Scotty won Rookie of the Year.
Did he?
Yeah.
Let me see what he's doing right now.
But like,
okay, 28 and he's playing a lot better than I thought he was. 28 and 6. Okay, so the NFL gets that one, but then like that was just a bad draft in the top 4 anyways.
And like
you get outside of that though, and like the 5th pick was Jamar. Jamar has been a lot better in the NFL than Jalen Suggs has been in the NBA. Jalen Waddle has been a lot better in the NFL than he's probably on par with Mr. Giddy.
Yeah, my boy.
There's a lot more picks, obviously.
There's just a lot more depth in the NFL draft.
And it's just like
the last pick or
picks don't really mean anything in the NBA anymore unless you're a top 3, 4, 5 pick, because
like pick 30 in that draft, the Bills got Gregory Rousseau, who has been an absolute dog. Pick 30 of that year's NFL draft or NBA draft, Santi Aldama.
It's also probably because there's 22 draftable positions in NFL as opposed to 5 in NBA.
I guess, but there's still just as many college basketball teams as there are college NFL teams. So I don't feel like I get what you're saying.
And
But I don't
mean,
feel like the discrepancy should be that large.
But
the,
when you have
the NBA has international players to choose
Yeah.
from as well, the NFL does not, which is why you will find some people like Puka, a 5th-round pick out of BYU, who can play very well, but the NBA will never find that because they're taking this guy from Kazakhstan because he's good at basketball.
I guess that's fair.
But I mean, I don't think
I
picks
just
really
think
mean
it's-
anything anymore. Like Jonathan Kuminga was the number 7 overall pick,
the cum bucket.
and he had to call out Steve Kerr in the national media to get him more minutes.
I just say it's ruining basketball to me with how impatient people are, because
Yeah.
you never get to see a story like the Lions in basketball anymore, where they drafted right. I mean, if you look at their last 3 drafts, they've gotten like
If the Thunder win it this year, you will.
that would be the only time though. Like
the Nuggets.
the Lions, you got 8 guys in your last 3 drafts that were starters this year. Same thing with, I mean, Baltimore drafted a lot of their talent.
Yeah.
They drafted Zay, they drafted Lamar, they drafted pretty much all their running backs.
Andrews.
Mark Andrews, Kyle Hamilton, some guys in the secondary on that team.
Really wish we would have got Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah, me too. Kyle Hamilton and Jesse Bates on the same team would be
Kyle
fucking
Hamilton
disgusting.
and Minka
But-
Fitzpatrick.
I mean, if you draft a Kyle Hamilton, you might not go after Jesse Bates. So
I guess that's fair. Yeah, it's kind of getting boring to watch to me in the NBA. Like, I need to start seeing some teams.
Mark Andrews
Like the Thunder.
is expected.
playing?
He's expected to play. He had
Another thing I love about the NFL playoffs that I have seen is these dudes are dogging it out regardless of the injury. That's not something I see
he broke
in
his
the No Ball Association.
he suffered a cracked fibula on November 16th, and it's January 25th, and he's about to play.
He got that Aaron Rodgers treatment.
It's just called wanting to win. Just something I do not see out of a lot of people in the NBA. Like, you got a low grade ankle sprain, you're sitting out for a game in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think it's funny because it
These
seems
guys
like
are not doing that in the NFL.
it seems like the Pistons don't even want to win more games. They're just like, oh, we're the Pistons, we're garbage. Let's see how bad we can be.
Yeah, you don't see that in the NFL either. Even with as bad as they were, the Panthers were going out trying to win games every week.
Same as the Titans.
Same with the Titans. Same with the
Falcons.
Jets. Okay, we weren't that bad. We weren't that bad. Same with the Bengals.
We didn't have our starting quarterback.
Bengals had a better
I didn't have a
record.
starting quarterback either.
Jake Browning's better than Desmond Ridder.
Damn straight. And we fucking had the same record.
Y'all finished 7-10? I
No,
thought you
we-
won 8.
we
It
went,
was 8 and 9.
No, we went 9-8.
Yeah, because we all had a winning record. All the
Oh, that's
AFC
right.
North.
Yeah, that's right.
We're coming for the Super Bowl next year.
Hey, an NFC South team made it to the second round of the playoffs, so
An AFC North team's still in it.
I'll take it. Yeah, but everybody was shitting so hard on the NFC South all year, and the Bucks had an opportunity.
They got
at least
lucky
force
that they had to
overtime.
play the fraudulent Eagles.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the NFC East was like this big fucking.
We all knew they were frauds.
Both lost first round.
Yeah, both lost first round.
They did just hire their new DC though.
Really?
Yeah,
Who
Vic Fangio,
is the new DC of?
the Eagles.
Interesting.
Yes, I did see that over here in the highlights.
I don't remember. Where did he coach before? Because I know his name.
The Dolphins. He was the Dolphins DC.
The
AP unveils finalists
for
for
MVP awards: Lamar, CMC, and Dak
Brock's not even on there?
are the finalists for the MVP, and
Dude.
they are the finalists for the MVP and Offensive Player of the Year awards.
Oh no, Josh Allen and
Oh,
Brock
okay.
Purdy are also finalists for MVP.
Okay.
And then Tyreek and CD are 2 other finalists for Offensive Player of the Year.
Why did they word it like that? That is
Yeah,
the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
You saw how I was reading that, right? And it just
Yeah.
it completely threw me off.
It's what the media does.
The Cleveland Browns have finalists in 4 categories. Myles Garrett for Defensive Player of the Year.
Boo.
Kevin Stefanski for Coach of the Year. Joe
Dude,
Flacco for Comeback Player of the Year. And Jim Schwartz for Assistant Coach of the Year. The Texans have finalists for Offensive and Defensive Rookie of the Year with CJ and Will Anderson.
I don't think Stefanski should win Coach of the Year anymore.
You think Dan Campbell should?
Yeah,
Yeah,
give
me
it to
too.
Dan.
Micah Parsons and Deron Bland.
The finalists for comeback player of the year.
Micah, Deron Bland, Max Crosby, and TJ Watt join Myles Garrett as finalists for DPOY.
Is TJ gonna win it?
If they don't, then it's just pure bias, bro.
Can you at least agree with me that if he does not win it, next up should be Max Crosby?
I have to look at his. I haven't looked at his stats.
Watt led the NFL with 19 sacks.
Yeah, I know that.
So he should fucking win it. But if he doesn't, Crosby had 14 and a half sacks. Myles Garrett and Parsons each had 14 sacks.
Yeah.
And he plays on the worst defense of any of the finalists.
So maybe next week we'll come with some of our picks for who we think will win these awards. Comeback Player of the Year finalists: Tua, Matt Stafford,
That's an interesting one.
Baker,
We all know who it's going to.
Joe Flacco, and DeMar Hamlin.
It's all going to Zombie Boy.
It better fucking go to Baker.
It's going to Zombie Boy.
Baker or Joe? I saw. You know who Big Cat is at Barstool?
I love Big Cat. He's
He
funny
said
as hell.
something that's. I agree with it. They won't do this, but I think it's a good point. He said, what happened to DeMar was horrible, and we are all grateful that he is alive. Name the award after him. And then give it to Joe Flacco or give it to Baker. Just name the award after DeMar.
I like that.
Yeah, I like
But
it too.
don't give it to DeMar because he
Didn't earn it.
didn't even get the first down. How are you going to give him comeback player of the year?
He didn't even play that much.
They really expected the Chiefs to just let the autism run, like you said. They really just expected them to let it happen.
What?
On the fake punt?
Fucking stupid, dude.
Like when they saw
They
him,
were short one guy
It
on
was
the
like
field,
that
and they're
Justin
like,
Fields fake punt.
yeah, the Chiefs had 10 people on the field and they still got the stop.
yeah, that's why they shifted to it. It was an audible. They went out there to punt, realized they had 10 people on the Chiefs had 10 people on the field, and they go, give it to Lamar. And that's what they fucking ended up with. Sam Laporta, Jahmyr Gibbs, Puka, and Bijan joined Stroud for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Jalen Carter, Rams D lineman Kobe Turner, Steelers cornerback JPJ, and Seahawks cornerback Devon Witherspoon join Will Anderson as finalists for DROY, and D'Amico Ryans, Dan Campbell, Kyle Shanahan, Jim Harbaugh, and Stefanski
John Harbaugh.
are the Jim are all finalists for Coach of the Year.
You got to give it I think you have to give it
I think
to
you
Dan
have to
Campbell.
give it to Dan.
To Dan Campbell. Yeah, he's taking the Lions to the NFC Championship game.
I'm probably going D'Amico, but
I mean, D'Amico's
good.
my number 2 behind Dan, but Dan has turned that team around in 3 years, and they are in the NFC Championship.
D'Amico went in his first season from a 3-13 team last year to the AFC divisional round with a rookie quarterback this year. Jared Goff's been there. D'Amico Ryans walked into NRG and dog walked the Browns. Didn't even just beat them; he dog walked them. If it was if it was a multiple season thing, like if we were looking over the course of, I could see Dan Campbell, but he had 2 years to now get to this point. This is what they were building the team for. D'Amico Ryans looked like he was inheriting a team that would probably win 5 games this year, and they won the AFC South with a rookie quarterback and went to the divisional round. They beat the Browns. That would be my pick is D'Amico. Dan would be second to me. I think the fact that Kyle Shanahan and John Harbaugh are here is laughable. You got 2 of the best rosters, and go ahead and fucking
you just got to put him on there to be a finalist, pretty much.
Go ahead and throw Andy Reid on there at that point. Like we're talking about just ridiculously talented teams.
Between Josh, Lamar, CMC, Dak, and Brock Purdy, who do you think's winning MVP?
Who do I think, or who do I think will win, or who do I think should win?
Who do you think should win?
We know who he thinks should win.
In my opinion, probably CMC.
Oh, that's not where I thought he was going.
You thought he was going Josh Allen?
Yeah.
I would, but I think the turnovers hold him back. Like, it's just that in terms of voting, that's just going to hold him back. He led the league in total touchdowns. He was, you see, I think there's a better case for him than there is Dak. 4,306 yards. It was fourth in the league. Tied fifth in passing TDs. Obviously, the 18 interceptions. Then he was third in QBR. And then he had He had 524 rushing yards, so he had almost 5,000. He had 4,800 total scrimmage yards. He had 15 rush TDs. So puts him at 44 total TDs on the season, 4,800 total yards, the league's third best QBR. But
Obviously, these awards don't go to who they really should go to, or else.
yeah, because McCaffrey tied second in carries this year, 1,459 rushing yards. That's first. 14 TDs. That's fourth. That's just rushing, though. Receiving, he added 564 yards. So
65.
he had over 2,000 total yards from scrimmage and 21 total TDs with 330-something touches, and is the focal point of the number one seed's offense. I think that's your MVP.
We want to hear the DPOY comparisons?
It's TJ and everybody else, but I think the closest on there is a guy who was second. Did Max finish second in sacks?
Out of those ones, yeah.
Out of the finalists, he was sixth in sacks, but
if you want TJ, out of the finalists, the leaders in tackles, TJ's got 48. There's only one that's got more than him, and that's Max Crosby. He's got 55 tackles. Myles Garrett has 33, and Micah Parsons has 36. So he's got 12 more than Micah Parsons and 15 more than Myles Garrett. Sacks, TJ's got 19. Closest one is Max Crosby with 14.5. Then Micah and Myles both have 14. The only one out of those four with an interception is TJ Watt. Forced fumble, TJ Watt's got 4, recovered 3 of them. Myles Garrett's got 4, recovered 1 of them. Micah Parsons has 1. Max Crosby has 2. The only one who returned a fumble for a touchdown, TJ Watt.
I don't think
Trey Hendrickson snubbed.
Get the fuck out of here.
He had 17.5 sacks this year.
Crosby had 1 fumble recovery on the 2 forced fumbles.
Yeah.
I at least think he should be second.
Makes you really wonder.
I don't know how he couldn't be second.
Do you think they're gonna let 2 white dudes go number 1 and number 2?
If it was,
but how do you? I don't.
If it was Tyrone Watt and Malcolm Crosby, I think we got the new faces of the NFL right there.
It pisses me off how underrated Max Crosby is, because I love watching the dude play.
And he basically black anyway, so
Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, didn't he get away with saying it in a video?
He almost said it.
He said half of it. Half the damn word was out of his mouth already.
We gonna need you. We gonna need you guys to show out.
I think he's the most underrated defensive player in the league. That's my opinion. I don't know how a guy who has 14.5 sacks,
you know who's the most
55
overrated?
solo tackles.
You already know who's the most overrated.
The most overrated this year? Who's he pulling up?
You'll see.
The most overrated.
I want to do this. I want to compare it to Chris Jones.
He's number 37.
What? Who are
In
you comparing
sacks.
to Chris Jones?
Fucking Aaron Donald. Because I'm tired of hearing about Aaron Donald all the time.
All right, different position though, so do keep that in mind.
They're both DTs.
Who?
Aaron Donald and Chris Jones.
Oh, you said Chris Jones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who do you think I said?
I thought you were trying to compare Aaron and TJ.
No.
You got Chris Jones pulled up? I got...
You want me to pull up Chris Jones?
Yeah, you pull up Chris Jones. I got Donald.
All right, let's see. All right, what is his...
So on the season, AD had 53 total tackles.
Okay, maybe this isn't a good comparison. We'll
No,
move
hold on. I just want to see it. I want to see it.
He got 30.
Okay. How many solo tackles?
20.
Chris Jones also sat out part of the year.
AD had 28.
Yeah.
How many sacks?
10.5.
AD had 8.
Overrated.
How many fumbles?
0.
Okay. AD didn't have any either. How many pass deflections? Far right under the interceptions category.
Regular season, foe.
AD only had 3.
Bum.
What does STF stand for?
Fuck if I know.
Stuffs.
Are you serious?
Chris Jones had 7 stuffs this year.
For 8 stuff yards.
AD had 12 stuffs.
Oh,
Oh.
AD was getting stuffed.
Y'all are disgusting, man. All right, are we gonna do? Are we doing dogs of the week this week with the playoff games?
Do you have your dog of the week?
He said we'd get to that point.
We did just get to that point. All right,
I got to update my Underdog app.
Do you really?
I did earlier, but
All right. So this is the end of the podcast. Coming up here with our Underdog Dogs of the Week, presented by Underdog. Use code FTS to get your deposit matched up to $100. If you like daily fantasy, this is the app for you. If you like the boys, support the boys. Use code FTS just in time for the championship games. Who doesn't like to, have a little bit more writing on the game, especially if you're a fan like me who is just watching at this point because I don't want to watch the NBA. My team is not in it. So to make the stakes a little higher, play you some daily fantasy. All right. I am going to go to Detroit and San Fran for mine. I am going to go to... Damn, they don't have the line I wanted. Or they don't have the
What'd you want?
projection that I'm looking
Touchdown,
for.
Jameer?
Yeah,
That's what I was looking for.
I wanted touchdown Jameer. I don't know how I feel about touchdown Montgomery.
Mm.
He had one in 3 straight games up until the Tampa Bay game, but he wasn't as involved in that game. All right, I will go with something I feel. Are you fucking kidding me? They don't have that either?
I'll go first because I found mine.
All right, go ahead.
Projections are a bit scarce.
So the weather in Santa Clara is going to be good. It's going to be very nice
I really
out there.
hope you're not taking the one that I'm...
It's going to be very nice out there.
Oh, no.
It was pissing rain last weekend, and Christian McCaffrey had 17 carries for 98 yards and 2 touchdowns. His rushing attempts line is 19.5. They only gave him the ball 17 times in a game where Brock Purdy had to wear a glove to throw. It's going to be sunny and 75 in Santa Clara, and I do not think Christian McCaffrey will get 20 carries. I'm taking lower than 19.5 rushing attempts.
Solid pick.
All right, I've got mine. Travis Kelce has played well the first 2 playoff games for the Chiefs. He had 7 catches on 10 targets for 71 yards and no TDs against a depleted Miami defense. He had 5 catches on 6 targets for 75 yards and 2 TDs against a depleted Bills secondary. He will go lower than his projection of 62.5 receiving yards against a Baltimore team who is sporting 2 of the best linebackers in all of football in Roquan Smith, and I'm going to tell you who's beside him real quick because I can't remember his name.
I think it's Matabuke.
Let's see. Where are my linebackers at?
Oh, no, he's a DT. He's
No.
not a linebacker.
Damn, how did I forget that? Sporting the 2 best linebackers, 2 of the best linebackers in all of football, Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith. 2 absolute dogs out there. They've also got Kyle Van Noy.
Patrick Queen, LSU legend.
They've also got David Ajabo. Ajabo.
draft class legend.
They're deep at linebacker. They've got two of the best in the league. I think it's going to be very hard for Mahomes to find him, on the field this upcoming week. So give me Travis Kelce lower than 62.5 receiving yards.
I got to check one more thing before I submit my application. No, that's not the fucking right one, you fucking piece of shit. All right. So let's see how many they allowed right now. And let's go. Man, what the fuck is this shit? All right. Well, I can't find the stats right now, so I'm just going to free dick it right here. The Ravens have a really good defense. But according to one of the websites I was on, they allow an average of 105 rushing yards per game to their opponents. And Mr. Pacheco runs like he bites people.
He do bite people.
So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take Isaiah Pacheco to rush for Mo in 63 point. Rush for higher in
More works.
63 and a half rushing yards. His last three against Buffalo, he had 97. Against Miami, he had 89. Against Cincinnati, he had 130. So 63 and a half is kind of sketch low. So
Vegas might know something we don't.
They might. But I'm still taking the higher on that one right there.
Okay, so we got two lowers, one higher, which could pan out well for the boys. Should pan out well for the boys. Last week's did not do very well. That was probably our worst entry so far. Only one of them hit.
Yikes.
Was it mine?
It was Baker to throw higher than 253 and a half.
I'm a G.
Mine, CJ Stroud, was higher than 1.5 passing TDs. He threw 0. Jax was Purdy, higher than 265.5. He threw 252. And Lance's biased, just absolute hater pick of a Josh Allen interception also did not hit. Also, I just hopped on here and I saw my season bet. My season bet actually was so close to hitting.
Your season daily fantasy pick'em entry.
Yes. Calvin Ridley went higher than his projection of 900.5 receiving yards. Miles Sanders went well below his projection of 925.5 rushing yards. Jared Goff went well above his projection of 4,000 passing yards. The Anthony Richardson one pushed because of how early he got hurt in the season.
Oh, really?
Yes. The one that missed was T-Law only throwing 21 passing TDs this year. So, T-Law, you suck. That would have been, I still would have pocketed about 250, I think, with the Richardson push. So, that one's a little tough there. Tough pill to swallow. But that wraps up another episode of From the Stands. I believe this is episode 51. So, we are past
the half-century mark.
There we go.
Now we going for the full century mark.
All right, this episode will be out on Friday because we had to push some things back this week. We hope you guys enjoyed this little bit of an unorthodox episode, just kind of the boys up here rambling. Check us out on YouTube tomorrow morning. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Facebook if you're old. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We will see you next week.
Peace.